Now, supposing that you don't want to work for somebody. Well, having your EA means you never have to have a boss. So, we know that it's not easy to find a job. There are a lot of people out there in all of the different job boards, and if you send in your resume or you respond, whoever is doing the hiring, they're getting a lot of resumes, a lot of other things, and your resume isn't going to stand out. So maybe what you'd rather do is just start your own practice. And you know what? It's not that hard to do. It's easier than you think. But you have to have a plan. So don't just start willy-nilly. First, decide what kind of tax you want to practice. Because sure, you could be all things to all people, but you know what? If, like doctors, if you learn something really, really well and find an area that you want to specialize in, you become the go-to person in your community, and nobody is your competitor. In fact, they send you referrals. So let's say that you only want to work with businesses, or you want to work with estates, or you want to work with people who have IRS balances. Once you decide what it is you want to spend your time doing, get involved in the community. Find where these kinds of people hang out and get involved with those people. So find the groups and then offer some workshops to those people. Offer some free workshops, just like Canopy is doing right now, or write some tips or articles for their newsletters. Now, one of the things that wasn't available when I was building a practice was a tool like Canopy. And you don't have to recreate the wheel. One of the things you can do is start out with a tool like Canopy that lets you set up practice management and to automate the practice. One of the most important things, and I know that's probably not Jeff's priority, but I got to tell you, when I started seeing Canopy, when they first started developing it, the one thing I was drooling over was the ability to make a list of things for the clients to get to me. You know how we always do that when they come in for the tax return or they mail it in and we make a list of all the missing things. Canopy lets you build that list, send it to the client, and as they get you bits and pieces of it, you can automate Canopy to have the list go back to your clients with "this is still missing," instead of you having to nag the client over and over and over again and waste billable time. Now you can still bill for it. Clients don't need to know that, but you can have all of that really. That's the task I hate the most. Even more than collecting money, I hate that more than anything else. So the follow-up for me is like one of the wonderful things. Plus, there are templates built in. I think one of the big areas that we have discussions on in the various LinkedIn or Facebook forums is, do you have a template on how to handle this? Do I have to create this? How do I do this for a client? So engagement letters, templates to respond to different types of notices. You don't have to do any of that, and you can pull this stuff together and integrate the information with your client's identification, their name, first name or whatever. Integrate all the communication into whatever tasks it is you're performing and automate those things and simplify it with the client portals. And this is so important in this day of identity theft. You don't want to be emailing documents back and forth. You don't want to have to worry about clients coming to your office back and forth all the time, dropping things off. A client portal is super valuable. You set up the portal, your clients can log in anytime they need it, and they can upload all of their documents. They can scan and upload their documents, their W-2s and any other documents. And one of the advantages is they keep their originals. You never have their originals, so you don't have to worry about sending it back. And then what we do is when we have all the information and we prepare the tax returns, we'll put up two files. One of the files is their copy of the whole tax return, federal, state, and everything else. The other file is a copy of the pages they need to sign. And so they can just have those pages once they review everything, sign those, get those back to us in the client portal. And then we can use that to electronically file the return. And of course, we can get paid. So we can also have that document in there giving them the bill. One of the advantages to this is, how often do you have your client say, well, I'm refinancing my loan and I need a letter for the lender, or the lender needs a copy of my W-2 or my extension or whatever, and you have to stop what you're doing, and, I don't consider myself to be their filing system. They have all of these things. With a client portal, you can just have them go to the client portal and pull it off themselves. The other problem with responding to the request, my lender needs this thing, is in order to do that, we need to get a signed disclosure release from the client allowing us to give these documents to the lender. Section 7216 disclosure. You need to create the template, write the letter, have the client sign it, blah, blah, blah. If the client has the portal, they can send the things directly to the lender, and you aren't responsible for releasing information to somebody without your client's written permission because you're not the one releasing it. So there are so many advantages to portals and automated systems. And once you do this, once you use something like this, like Canopy that does this, and we haven't even talked about the tax resolution that it does and all of the transcripts, and they'll even give you free transcripts. Once you learn how to do this, it's faster, the learning curve is shorter. I mean, God, I wish this stuff had been around when I started. I'm not going to tell you how many decades ago, but it was the last century. Don't worry about it. When Jeff asked me to do this, I decided one of the things that I want to do is talk to current EAs and enrolled agent candidates, people who were becoming EAs, and find out from them what it means to be an enrolled agent. And so here are some comments from different groups of people, okay? These are current enrolled agents who are members of NAEA, and I asked them what they thought. David was saying that he has a lot of credentials, but he loves being an enrolled agent. He holds his head up because he's an enrolled agent. And so he's able to represent people before the IRS, and as an employer, hired as a credentialed tax expert by Intuit, he is able to get that seasonal job with Intuit, get paid wages, and I understand Intuit is also matching their contributions to retirement plans, so that's kind of cool. And Intuit will only hire you if you're an EA or a CPA. Shirley said she took over a practice from a retiring CPA last year, and he would never have turned his practice over to her if she didn't have the EA, and the clients wouldn't have stayed with her once he turned the practice over to her. Then we have Tim. Okay, Tim is already a CPA, but he became an EA because he was in a town that already had 20 CPAs. And you know what? He's the only CPA in town who is also an enrolled agent, so it sets him apart. What about people who are studying to become EAs? Well, Andrea said she's unenrolled. She's also located out of the United States. She's in Canada. And it doesn't have as many benefits there in, quote, international land, but there are several things she can't do for her clients without being an EA. Chuck said becoming an EA is going to add credibility to his tax practice. So even though most people don't know what an EA is, he gets to explain it to them. And so that gives him a little bit more standing, and he can hold his head up. He's been doing taxes since 1979 without getting any kind of a credential. Finally now he's going to become an EA this year. Lasundra says, I knew it had to be something valuable, but it wasn't until I started my classes that I realized just how valuable it is. You don't realize how much you don't know until you get the training. So Juan says he's an EA, and he has a bachelor's degree and a JD. So, we're talking attorney here. Cost of college and tuition, $30,000 a year at state school. And many folks may want a more direct career path, like apprenticeships in Germany. So the fact is that it could become really, really expensive to go through college and to go through all of that stuff for years and years and years. 4 years of college is $120,000 when instead you can invest $1,000 or $2,000 and become an EA in a few months. So he says, although we don't have a formal system here in the U.S., the fact that the EA license is based on competency alone and not on degrees, it allows for those who want to completely bypass the college path to achieve a high quality and rewarding career. And Judy says the benefits to me, self-worth, not from the initials, but from learning what those initials allowed me to build. She built a professional tax practice that is much more than just data entry. And to an employer, she was an employee, and she found that being an employee held her back from pursuing her personal and professional goals. And sometimes people like to say they like having an EA on staff, but don't take advantage of all the things an EA can do. And so they won't know what an EA can do unless you tell them. So, to sum it all up, becoming an enrolled agent is lucrative. It is achievable, and it's a benefit to have EAs in any tax organization, which is why all of the national CPA firms and corporate are hiring EAs or CPAs in all of the job descriptions. There are a lot of resources out there to help you between Tax Mama and Canopy and various forums in Facebook and LinkedIn and NAEA, NATP, ASTPS, and other organizations. You don't have to do things alone. This has become a great community of people who are very helpful to each other and don't really try to outcompete each other. Everybody is someone who can become a referral source, and so are you to them. You have software to help you do the work, so you don't have to do things from scratch. You don't have to recreate the wheel. There are a number of excellent exam prep tools. If you already know enough about tax, you can just take one of those exam prep tools and sit for the exam, maybe in weeks or days, or you can learn how to do taxes in depth, learn tax laws, learn how to represent people, learn how to work with clients, make them happy, and not end up letting them make you stressed and anxious. So you can come to the course, and if you want to take the course and you want a $100 discount, use code CANOPY100 to get $100 off the course. You will need to do continuing education, and thank goodness for that. It is anywhere from 16 to 24 hours a year minimum, 72 hours over 3 years, and hopefully you're not just going to knock out a bunch of dumb education just to fill the time. You're going to use those hours to learn things that are useful to your practice and that keep you up on all of the new tax laws.
We appreciate you taking the time today and attending the webinar. It's been fantastic. Again, we'll have these slides available for download, and please don't hesitate to reach out and chat with us, and we will see you on a future webinar. So thanks so much.